Hi, Tam here. A dear friend of mine sent me a text on Messenger, so he wants to know how to get rid of man boobs. Now you have gynecomastia and pseudo-gynecomastia, otherwise known as lipomastia. Lipomastia, right, is the growth of fat tissue. So your breast is fat. In gynecomastia, it's glandular proliferation. This friend of mine actually is a doctor, right? And he says, "Hi mate, I have a fitness consult." So he frames it into a fitness problem, not a medical problem, right? So I'm assuming he's talking about lipomastia and not gynecomastia, right? So he says, "I have a fitness consult. I want to lose my man boobs. What should I avoid eating? Should I do cardio every day? How many minutes a day? Weights, meaning lifting weights. Light and many repetitions, or the opposite? Oatmeal, is it good or bad for you? Eggs, is it good or bad? Dairy, is it good or bad? Animal meat, is it bad? What's the best breakfast you can have? Thanks. Lots of contradicting evidence out there, spoken and searched." Let's start. Now, what you should avoid eating, basically, if you've got lipomastia, right? Yes, you need to lose weight, but you need to lose fat. It's not just about losing weight, it's about losing fat, you know? And ideally, you want to retain your muscle mass and lose the fat tissues, right? So, you should eat less fat, less calories, right? I mean, the key to losing weight is to decrease your caloric intake and burn more calories. So you decrease your caloric intake and you burn more calories, you will lose the weight. But you want to do that in a smart way. You want to decrease your caloric intake, burn more fat, but retain your muscle mass. And ideally even increase your muscle mass a bit, you know, to look good. Now, what should I avoid eating? If you're the kind of guy eating cheeseburgers, you know, fast food, Burger King, McDonald's, what have you, you know, stop with the fast food business, all right? Stop eating all the fat that you're eating. And remember this, it's very important, and that's the key to mastering your diet and losing weight fast. When it comes to the macronutrients you're eating, we can split them into three. You've got proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, right? These are the three components of any food you're eating. 1 gram of proteins yields 4 calories, meaning for every gram of protein that you ingest, your body will metabolize that gram of protein and yield 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrate also yields 4 calories. But 1 gram of fat yields 9 calories. You see, that's very important. 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. 1 gram of carbs is only 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. So that's very important. You must decrease the amount of fat in your food. So eliminate the fat. So that's very, very brief. I'm trying to run through it. I don't want to take too long, but what should I avoid eating? Avoid fatty food. Should I do cardio every day? Yes. You want to burn the fat? Yes, you should do cardio every day. I mean, in the initial phase, when you want to lose the weight, I recommend that you do cardio every day. How many minutes? It doesn't matter. I do cardio for 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes every day, right? When I really push it, I do 10 minutes. So I go on the treadmill and I run 1 kilometer in 4 minutes. And then after that, if I'm still up to it, I will go on the stair climber and do another 5 minutes, So I would say, 5 to 10 minutes a day. If you're up to it, you could do 20 minutes a day. It doesn't really matter, Get started, go on the treadmill, go outside, run. If you really want to run for 45 minutes, 1 hour, and you have the time, why not, Don't worry about how many minutes. There's no formula to say 4 minutes versus 6 minutes versus 15 minutes. The more you do cardio, the more fat you're gonna burn. I'm talking about cardio, not just walking at 2 kilometers an hour on the treadmill. No, that's not cardio, right? Now, when it comes to weights, should I lift light weights with many repetitions or the opposite? So I think the question is, should I go with light weights and do many reps, or should I go with heavy weights and do little reps, right? I mean, the formula is simple, right? If you want to lose weight, you should do more reps. And for you to do more reps, you're going to have to be using lighter weights. So yeah, I would suggest, it doesn't really matter again, whatever weight makes you comfortable, But as a rule, if you want to build more muscle mass, you're going to have to go heavier with lower reps. If you want to burn more fat, more tissue, and you're going to burn a little bit of muscle as well, then you should go higher reps with lighter weights, Doesn't matter, get started, Now, oatmeal, is it good or bad for you? I haven't heard any negative stuff about oatmeal, Anything taken in excess is bad, Water in excess is bad, right? So, I mean, it's all about balancing your diet, So oatmeals, I would say for 100 gram of oatmeal, you have about 55 to 60 grams of carbohydrates, right? And about, depending on the manufacturer, but about 12 to 15 grams of proteins. And about between 7 and 9 grams of fat, depending on the manufacturer. And the fat in oatmeal is mostly unsaturated fat, so it's good fat, so it's okay, not to say good fat, unsaturated fats are okay, but I'm just saying that in the case of oatmeal, it's not much. If you take 100 grams of bread, 100 grams of bread will give you 50 grams of carbohydrates, and depending on the baking process, between 1 and 5 grams of fat, But I would say oatmeal is better than bread when it comes to fitness. If you have to choose between the two, I would go for oatmeal because oatmeal has more protein than bread. Bread has almost no protein at all. If you take 100 grams of bread, you have 50 grams of carbs, maybe, 1 to 5 grams of fat, but almost no protein, probably like 1 gram of protein or less, But in oatmeal, for 100 grams of oatmeal, you will have roughly about, I would say, between 10, 12, 14 grams of proteins. And about 55 to 60 grams of carbs. Not bad, you know. And about 7 grams of fat or something, you know. 7 to 9 grams. So yeah, oatmeal is better than bread. But for the sake of being on a strict diet, you want to lose fat, I would say in the initial phase, no bread, no oatmeal, just fruits. Replace your oatmeal, replace your bread with fruits, right? With simple carbohydrates, right? Simple carbohydrates, better than complex carbohydrates, right? Now, eggs, is it bad or good for you? Well, eggs, looking at one egg, right? There is the egg white, the white part of the egg, and the yolk, the yellow part of the egg. The egg as a whole is not bad for you, but the yolk of it, the yellow part of the egg, is bad for you because that's where the cholesterol is, right? That's where the fat is, right? And there is also some protein, but there is also a lot of protein in the egg white. So we say when it comes to eggs, remove the yellow part, remove the yellows of the eggs, and only ingest egg whites. It's much healthier. It's a much better diet, you know. So egg whites, not the whole egg, right? So egg whites are good for you. It's a good source of protein, no cholesterol in it, you know. It's safe. The yellow part of the egg, bad for you. All right. I haven't had the yolk of an egg, the yellow part of an egg, in more than 15 years, I think, you know. It's like I just eat egg whites only, all right? If I'm gonna make myself an omelette, it's gonna be the egg white only, you know. Now, dairy product, dairy, is it good or bad? Well, dairy, I mean, generally speaking, you know, stuff like cheese and byproducts of cheese are bad for you, you know. It's fat, it's cholesterol, right? It's not ideal, man, you know. So no dairy products when you're on a diet. When you want to lose weight, when you want to lose fat, no dairy product, with the exception of Greek yogurts, you know. And I'm talking about true Greek yogurts that are high in proteins, low in carbs, and low in fat, you know. What comes to mind, and I'm not endorsing or sponsoring any company here, but I like Chobani yogurts, right? Chobani fat-free yogurts, because they're very high in protein, they're very low in fat, and they've got a good balance of carbohydrates, you know. So fat-free Greek yogurts like the Chobani brand, you know, I think those are good, you know, especially when you go to the gym, you know, you want to build a little bit of muscle mass and you want to lose the fat, you know. There are other brands that are just as good as Chobani, you know, but look at the nutritional value of your yogurts, you know, of your fat-free yogurts, you know, and choose those who are low in cholesterol, low in fat, high in proteins, you know, a good balance of carbs. All right. Animal meat, is it bad? Again, as with everything, we have to divide animal meat into, you know, different components, right? Not all animal meat are equal. Red meat, bad for you. White meat and fish, it's better, right? So I do eat meat. I'm not a vegetarian, although some people think I'm a vegetarian actually. But no, I do eat meat, you know. But the meat I eat is never red. It's always fish or chicken or turkey, right? Now, when it comes to meat, right, whether red or white or fish, meat is high in proteins, right? 100 grams of meat will give you about 15 to 20 grams of proteins, and very low fat, very low carbs. In fact, almost no fat, almost no carbs. I'm talking about quality meat here. But the cholesterol content is quite high, you know. Even in fish, even in white meat, you know, it's quite high, you know. But the difference between red meat and white meat and fish, you know, and the reason I'm saying don't eat red meat is because red meat, when metabolized, breaks down into free radicals, or rather liberates free radicals that have been proven, you know, to be carcinogenic to your body. What I'm saying is this: red meat, there is an association between red meat and cancer. That's the truth. There is an association between red meat and cancer, especially colon cancer, right? But other types of cancers as well, you know. There is no proven association between fish and cancer, or white meat and cancer. But there is an association between red meat, meaning those steaks and all that stuff, and the cancer. So just be careful about it. Just know that red meat is not good for you, you know. I never eat red meat. Well, never say never, you know. If I'm invited to a function, or, you know, a host is inviting me, or is inviting me to his or her house, and red meat is on the menu, and that's the only option, yeah, of course I'm gonna have a little bit of meat, you know, it's a social event, no problem. But I don't actively buy red meat. I don't like it, I never did. I'm not a red meat eater, you know, I just don't like it. And I'm afraid of it, you know. And then, best breakfast. Well, there's no best breakfast, you know. When you go on a diet, I think what you must do is you must eat small portions every 3 hours, right? So let's say you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you do a little bit of physical exercises, you know, maybe a bit of push-ups, you know, a brisk run, anything you like to do, maybe a bit of yoga, you know. And then after that, you know, you have your shower, you dress up, and you have your first meal at, let's say, I don't know, 5:30, you know. After that, every 3 hours, you're gonna put some fuel into your body, right? So 5:30, you have your first meal, 6, 7, 8:30, your next meal, 9, 10, 11:30, another meal, 12, 1300, 14:30, another meal, and so on, until the time you sleep at night. And then, you know, if you're gonna sleep 6 hours, then you can sleep. You don't need to wake up in the middle of the night to eat, you know. And the benefits of that is that eating small meals like that, first of all, these are small portions, so they're easily digestible, all right? Instead of having a banquet at lunchtime and taking 1 kilogram of food into your stomach, you know. No, man, that's too much for your body to digest, man, you know. You're gonna fall asleep, you know. Your body is overworking to digest all that food. It's gonna take like 4 to 8 hours to digest anyway. Now it's just too much work for your body, you know. You're gonna fall asleep, and that's why people fall asleep after a heavy meal. So a good thing to do is to have small little meals every 3 hours, you know. The benefit of that is that you can have your meal and then go straight to whatever you're doing, you know. You could actually eat and go to the gym, because, you know, these are small little meals, very easily digestible, you know. Your insulin is being secreted at a constant rate. Your glucose is well balanced. I mean, that's excellent, right? So there's no best breakfast. There's no best breakfast. You must eat a small amount of food at short intervals every 3 hours. All right. And then at the end he says, thanks, lots of contradicting evidence spoken and searched. And that's true. When it comes to man boobs, there is a lot of misinformation there, you know. Like I said before, man boobs know the difference between gynecomastia and lipomastia. But if you have lipomastia and you want to get rid of your man boobs, this is the best way to do it. Lose weight in the ways that I've explained to you, and you'll be okay. Cheers.